guys, welcome back to Just Jasa. As you know, we are trying to do an amazing new segment, kind of tying in with our roundtables. But I think we're going to do a little twist this month for Black History. And this segment is going to be called Black Is. Now, we're going to start with my amazing partner. I can't wait to introduce her, talking about diversity within the Black community. Now, you guys know I'm all about Black empowerment, everything us. However, I'm big on accountability. So we are going to discuss the diversity within the Black community and the ways we see it. And not just talking about the struggles we've been through, but also how we're overcoming them, how we are dominating in this world. So without further ado, please help me introduce the amazing LaBrena Coleman. She is going to be talking about Black is Diverse with me today. Thank you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you for having me this evening. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. So before we get started, obviously, I know what you do. You guys don't understand the connection, right? So in our past episodes, you've been seeing our Her Movement commercials coming up. This is our amazing founder. So please tell us a little bit more about you, what you do, and a little bit about Her Movement.
So a little bit about myself. I am a social worker at heart, been a social worker in the field for over 10 years now. So I have seen it all, heard it all, you name it, when it comes to mental health, self-care, emotional awareness, and just the small pieces that some people think is not important that can explode. So with that being said, I've worked in a school as a high school teacher. I've been a school therapist. I've worked in a psych unit. I traveled the world as a travel social worker in the hospitals. So I have really seen it from all ages, all things small or big, and just try to meet people where they are in life in general, because that helps me. That helps me now in my everyday structure and also in business.
Yeah.
It's just well-rounded. It's a well-rounded population that I'm involved in this industry. So with that being said, that's when Her Movement was created, because working in the schools, you see a lot between adults and children. Working in the psych unit, you really see hands-on the mental health piece. And then when working in a hospital, you see, you work with the homeless population, the substance abuse, and you see there's a need.
Yeah.
You want to give back, you want to help, but it's only one of you, right? So with Her Movement, it's a nonprofit organization that gives back to teenagers, and not only teenagers, but help them as young adults. Because we all think we're grown when we're 18, we're going to college or we're going to start our own family, careers. We think we're grown, but you still need that advice. And that's why Her Movement comes into play. And sometimes parents need that support as well. Because when working with kids, we all know you have to work with parents as well. And if the parents are not involved, you're really look forward to you're now their role model.
Right.
Of those children's role models, whether it's a basketball coach, soccer coach, mentor, therapist, whatever, celebrities. They look up to somebody. They have to look up to somebody. So that's what we all come into place. And then people behind the scenes, like myself and Jasa, we are orchestrating it to make sure it's all together. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. Yes. And we love that. And I think that's why it's super important to talk about stuff like this, especially for our teens that are watching, or we hope are watching. It's really important to know a little bit more about our culture and the things that come with it. And I think a big thing for me that I try to talk about a lot is getting away from the stereotypical conversation when it comes to our community. We have so many other things that make us absolutely amazing, and that's where diversity comes in. So, of course, our first topic that we're going to talk about within this segment is going to be the cultural expression, right? Everybody loves different music. Everybody loves to look a certain way. We love to either follow the trends or do our own thing. Can you tell me a little bit about your personal expression?
My personal expression, I want to say a lot. Just in general, fashion.
Okay.
From the colors you wear to what you decide to put on in the morning. If you're feeling down, 9 times out of 10, you may wear dark colors. But if you're feeling vibrant, you're
Mhm.
excited. You may go to something that show a little skin, a little shoulder, or some bright colors.
Mhm.
Fashion really does say a lot about an individual, and sometimes people it's been research done. People who wear make a lot of makeup
Mhm.
24/7, and people try to judge them like why they wear so much makeup. Sometimes they
Mhm.
don't feel pretty in the inside, or
Mm.
sometimes putting on makeup makes them feel like I have a little extra.
Yeah.
It makes them on another level.
Mhm.
I know we all have heard it, especially in the Black culture, where individuals have to wear eyelashes. They're like,
Mm.
I don't feel the same without my eyelashes. I
Yeah.
don't feel right without my eyelashes. And it's not that they think they're ugly, but it just gives them that extra empowerment.
Yes.
For some reason, hair. Let's talk about hair.
Ooh.
Every woman, doesn't matter what culture,
Yep.
you want your hair did, it says a lot about you. We always say, oh, I had morning hair, like I didn't
Yeah.
even do it, I didn't brush it. That's
Mhm.
kind of like I didn't have motivation to do it.
Yeah.
Even with guys, don't brush their hair, they don't get their haircuts.
Mhm.
It's kind of showing like that something is off, because that's
Yeah.
a part of your self-care, right?
Right.
And then having that confidence of I look good, I smell good. It does take a toll on individuals. So for me, that awareness part of it, like
Okay.
I didn't put on lotion today, like I didn't put on lotion for a week.
Yep.
It's kind of the first sign of maybe it's a hint of depression or something is
Mm.
wrong because you're not doing your self-care. You're
Right.
letting your skin dry out. You didn't brush your hair.
Mhm.
Now, I hope you brush your teeth, but you
Right.
didn't brush your hair. It's kind of like you didn't do that self-care thing. What's going on? Because you didn't care enough to brush your hair. Now, if you're rushing, you missed the morning, cool.
Right.
But if you don't care enough to do these little small self-care techniques daily,
Mhm.
it's like something ain't right. Something's wrong. So for me, like fashion, it
Yeah.
says a lot. Like how you carry yourself says a lot.
I love that. And I think it's super important when we talk about the younger kids
Mhm.
because I think a lot of it is based in influence. And I know for me personally, I'm a little bit more my husband calls me a prude, but I am, and I'm okay with that. But I love the more mystery of
Mhm.
what I look like, my appearance. Yeah, I may have a little moment where I want to, show off these goods that I work for. But at the end of the day, I think it's important when we're talking about our expression and on one side, not judging, not saying that you need to fit in this box because of our stereotypes, right? So to go on a little tangent, for Black women, especially of darker complexion, we have this more promiscuous stereotype. So when we think about this stereotype, I'm curious on your thoughts. Do you encourage young girls to be on the more traditional side to kind of contain that, to make sure that you are showing up in a certain way, or do you encourage them to just be themselves and try and stay away from the stereotype? Or what is your thoughts?
So initiative, I always, always, always encourage them to kind of stray away from it.
Mm-hmm.
As they become older,
Mm-hmm.
so my population 17, 18, then I encourage them to be yourself.
Okay.
And if being yourself, you want to show a little skin, can we do it in a way that you're not sexualizing yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a difference
Yeah.
versus maybe you have on shorts, it's hot, it's summer,
Yeah.
but do you want shorts where not like half of your booty cheeks are hanging out? Now it's becoming sexuality. Like people are looking at your body in a more sexual way. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, you look nice, you look good.
Right.
Because sometimes a little cheek might hang out and you're
Right.
of age. It's like, okay, had a little nice
You
look.
feeling it? Okay.
Right, but if it's like half of your booty cheek, because
Right.
they have shorts now that's like boy shorts, like underwear,
Yeah.
kind of. That's when it's like, no, you're crossing the line.
Okay.
So, and for me, with my teens, they know they don't like for me to see them like that. But when I see them, I have to correct them, like, you went too far.
Right.
Miss Coleman, I don't mind a little bit, but
Yeah.
you went too far. Or nowadays, people wear shirts, women wear shirts where the whole nipple is showing. It's see through and the whole nipple is showing. I'm like, okay, I know y'all, because some of our teens or our members are in their 20s. I'm like, I know you're
Yeah.
grown,
Right.
but can we wear something to cover the nipple
Yeah.
under the see through? Can we wear a jacket, something
Mm-hmm.
to like maybe they get a little peek every now and then, but cover
Right.
it up.
Little
You're
mystery, just a little.
grown, so yeah, you don't have to be 100% modest
Right.
when you're of age, but I do encourage them to tone it down sometimes. You don't have
Okay.
to be fully naked to get attention.
Yes. And I feel that. And I think that's so important too. Like we talk about all the time, especially our generations. When I was growing up, we didn't have this. When I was growing up, it's always that conversation. And when we were younger, we hated hearing that. But now that we're older, it's like, well, dang, maybe that conversation was important because
Yes,
looking
yes.
at what's influencing my son's generation and my siblings' generation, I'm like, good Lord. Do you guys have any type of decorum, any type of
Mhm,
class? Because I get wanting to be grown and sexy. I get
mhm.
wanting to, show off the things that you
Yeah.
work for. You earn that, girl. Especially as a woman, we get it. But
Yes.
when it's that influence, it's so important to make sure that we're understanding there's a difference between wanting to express yourself and that just body diversity, like body positivity. There is a very thick line. People like to say it's a fine line. It's not. It's a very definitive line,
Yeah.
and it's just not happening.
Because, and I always tell the girls this, you can be fully clothed, jeans, a long shirt, sweater, but if you have a body, they still can, you can
Mm,
see curves.
it's there.
So you're already getting the stares, you're already getting the hey, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now imagine you half naked. What are you really saying now? Like I try to switch it in a way where they can really grasp the concept. Because if we just say cover up, don't wear this, don't wear that, it kind of goes in one ear out the other. So
Yep.
I try to paint that picture of if you're already getting the attention now, fully clothed, what do you think? What message do you think you're sending when you're half naked?
Right.
And then not trying to sexualize anyone or blame women like, oh, I can't dress
Mm-hmm.
out. No, not
No.
trying to do that. But just really think of what message you're sending,
Mhm.
especially to the guys who are on the prowl. Let's
Right.
be honest, they're on the prowl.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to score a number in their book or whatever the case may be, or they just want you because you're that girl. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then you dress that way. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, she's easy, or I got a chance. Like she
Yeah.
already showing the world.
Right.
Well, you can show me too. But but if you're covered, it kind of gives you a bit more respect
Yeah.
in a way. Because I know for me growing up in college, I was always the one more, they always call me the reserve when I'm so modest.
So
I'm okay with it. But I still look good with clothes on. My dress don't have to
serious.
be that short. And I still got attention, but the guys will always respect me.
Yeah.
Like I never got called out on my name. They never touched me inappropriate. It was just like, oh, that's just her.
Yeah.
But they try all the other girls around me. And they're like,
Right.
why did we never treat you that way?
Yeah.
I'm dressed that way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people know. They get the
Mm-hmm.
energy. They see how you carry yourself pretty much.
Yeah. And I love that. And it all again ties back to how you show up and how you want to be seen, which brings me to my big point for this part of the conversation. When we are in those spaces with the Black community, right? This is like, let's just say cookout. We're going to go with the normal one.
Okay.
And I think about like that generic conversation, like, oh, you don't act Black. When we think about just our image, right? We're gonna stick with that just for the sake of example. When we think about our image, do you come across these types of conversations like you don't look Black, you don't talk Black, you don't, express your most Black appearance? How do you navigate that?
So when I was a teacher, I think I got that expression the most from my kids.
Not from your kids.
From the kids, they're real honest. They're very honest. And I'm country. I'm like, I sound what? What does sounding white mean? Like, tell me the definition of sounding white.
Mm-hmm.
Proper grammar, using my commas and periods. I want you to be on that level too. So I just kind of navigated to why can't you be on that level too?
Right.
Why does it have? Maybe I would feel better if we said I'm using slang or you use proper English.
Yeah.
Why do you have to say sound white
Yeah.
or sound Black?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you said Caribbean, okay, I get it. Or if
Right.
you said Hispanic, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because they actually speak a different language
Right.
versus black and white, or should I say African Americans and Caucasians. We speak
Hmm.
English. It's the same
Yeah.
language, you know? Um, so I just turn it around to why don't you want to speak this way?
Right. And that's important too. I think, especially again, speaking with those younger generations, they're so influenced. I don't understand why influence is so big now. Still figuring it out, navigating that, but it is. And understanding that a lot of our social media is a big part of that. Like, I can speak for my brother alone. My brother is about to be 18. And some of the things he says, and we're having like conversations about life. And he's like, I didn't expect you to think that way or talk this way. And I'm just like, well, what do you mean? He's like, you just don't sound black. And I'm just like, well, what? Wait a minute, you're right. Good. I mean, your level of black. I want to be able to show the education I have. I want to be able to show that not necessarily conforming, but I have the ability to express myself in a way that isn't a stereotype. And I think that's
Mhm.
a big part of this diversity conversation is there is more to being us than being black, if that makes
Yeah,
like we have so much more, and a lot of the times we only utilize it or talk about it when someone is bashing us. We only,
yeah,
address the fact that black women are educated. We
yeah.
are educated. So for us to sit here and not feel comfortable in that education, it's weird to me, especially when it comes to the way we talk, especially when it comes to our appearance. Like the whole purpose of people having different trends or the accessibility to different looks, unfortunately, is because we take that chance. We are adventurous with us. We can either wear a wig, we can be curly, we can be straight, we can be a redhead, we can be a blonde. But at the end of the day, it's going to be beautiful. And we have to have that space to express it. But unfortunately, we get a lot of that pushback and diverse conversation from our people, and it's just like, well, dang, Shirley, you was just wearing a wig too. I'm confused. You code switch too, and you pick up the phone, but that's another conversation.
No, no, I was actually going to bring that up because I have a novel that's titled Code Switching. Because we do, like you said, we do it all the time. Where I think all races do
Yes.
it all the time.
Yeah.
When you're around your friends, you speak different than
Yep.
when you're around your family. And then when you're in a professional setting, it doesn't matter. All cultures do it.
Yep.
You have that one particular person that'll bring out the roughness in you. And then you have that one group that you can be soft around.
Yep.
And then you have it's a professional setting where it's set pretty much you're setting boundaries.
Right.
So people tend to say, oh, you switched up. No, I set boundaries. I'm in a
Right.
certain area where you behave a particular way. Versus when you're at home in your comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
you can speak loosely then.
Mm-hmm.
So that accent or that quote unquote speaking black or speaking white does take an effect, comes out
Mm-hmm.
naturally because you're
Right.
comfortable. You're in your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Versus when you're being professional, you have to put up boundaries. That's the whole purpose of being professional.
Right.
Because you want to have that respect there of you don't curse.
Mm-hmm.
Who goes to work and just cuss everybody out?
Look, I
Every
got
every sentence,
yep.
5 cuss words.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that on someone's job. You don't do that when you're trying to handle business. You wouldn't do that if you go to court in front of a judge. Just being honest.
Yep.
And if you're in front of a judge, you're not up there using slang.
Mm-hmm.
So this is so it's something that everybody watched. I don't care who you were. You saw it, the young thug situation when they were in court. How did that young man handle himself in court? But you listen to the music, right? Different.
Yep. Totally different.
So I just wanted to kind of paint that picture for
Yep.
anyone who's listening, so that they can kind of really grasp the concept that we're saying. When it comes to code switching, there's a
Mm-hmm.
time and a place. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not that you're switching it up just a whole different person.
Right.
It's you're just setting boundaries
Yeah.
because every area doesn't need everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a good point. I definitely love that example because a lot of the times we can't think of a real solid example, but that is an absolutely amazing point because people idolize him as a thug. But hey, when you facing life, I will
Yeah,
be whatever you need me to be.
yeah.
Hello.
That young man had to get up there and speak with knowledge.
Yep.
He had to, you had to, and that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
In certain settings, you have to, and it's not nobody looked at him crazy or looked at him different.
Yeah.
They understood, like, right? Oh, you
Mhm.
understand because it's Young Thug. But
Look.
when it's another normal person
Yeah.
without funds and popularity or not a celebrity,
Yeah.
oh, they'll sell out. They
Mhm.
done changed. Not really.
Yeah. I, I agree, girl. Well, look, we're gonna talk about that because now we got to jump into the entrepreneurial spirit. But before we do that, please check out our commercial with the amazing Legacy Elmore as she discusses a little bit more about her movement. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, I'm Legacy Elmore, and I'm excited to introduce you to something transformative, Her Movement. Her Movement stands for Healing Every Repression, an initiative dedicated to empowering teens to overcome challenges, embrace their strengths, and step into their full potential. Our mission here at Her Movement is to create a safe and supportive space where teens can not only heal, but grow and thrive, no matter the obstacles they face. We offer one on one mentoring, weekly group meetings, and personalized support designed to help teens build confidence, navigate struggles, and develop essential life skills. Through workshops, creative outlets, and dreams, whether it's improving emotional well being, tackling tough decisions, or building a foundation for future success, we meet teens where they are and guide them forward. Her movement isn't just for teens as well. It's for parents, educators, and community members who want to be a part of a solution that uplifts and empowers the next generation. Together, we can create a ripple effect of positive change, helping teens break free from limitations and find their voice. Join us in supporting her movement and help us continue healing every repression one step at a time. Whether you're a teen looking for support or just someone who wants to make a difference, there is a place for you in her movement. Let's build a brighter future together, one step at a time.
Awesome, awesome. I'm happy you were able to stick around for the commercial. I hope you didn't skip through. I know you see it every episode. It's fine. But I'm super excited to jump back in. Now we're going to talk about more of the entrepreneurial spirit. So, as you heard, LaBrena is definitely an entrepreneur. Just being able to balance everything within this world, it is super important to understand that every culture is different, right? So this is not a Black conversation anymore. This is a cultural conversation because a lot of the times when you have the immigrant families, they come here in hopes of a more stable life for their families. But when you flip it and you have more of the African American side, they don't understand why you don't want to conform. You don't want a 9 to 5. You don't want a blue collar job. So this conversation is going to be big on you, LaBrena. How did you kind of decide that? You had various career paths. You were able to really experience that dream, right? For our Black families, a lot of at least I know that was a big conversation for us, having that stable career. But you took a chance. What made you do that? And what were some of the challenges you may have faced?
Taking a chance for me was making a difference,
Mm-hmm.
and not only for individuals, but for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a different feeling when you actually set a goal and you accomplish that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And not only to accomplish the goal, but to know you made a difference, whether it's small or big to someone else, it's big to you, to
Right.
your heart. So that was step one. Setting
Mm-hmm.
the goal, accomplish the goal, and know that I reached that climax, that I meet that barrier. I managed to get over that challenge.
Yeah.
And as we know, as you get over one challenge, more challenges come.
Mm-hmm.
So those are still to come. Still, I'm getting over challenges every day and using what I learned and what I help others with. Have to help myself. Use those same tools, those same techniques for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's kind of where I am right now in that sense. And that's kind of how it looked in the past, and it's still going. So it's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that like and maybe this will be a more scenario question. Do you think if you didn't have your career established before you started your nonprofits and even your for profits, that you would have gotten the same support? Because I wonder, like, if that's a big thing for the outside world, for our families and stuff. When you say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to step out on my own and just figure it out, which that's not what you're doing. You have a 9 to 5 too. But when you say that, that's fear. Like, what do you mean you're not going to give yourself to some corporate job that is going to give you benefits and a steady salary? Do you think having that under your belt kind of added more security to the people around you?
Um, in a sense, yes.
Mm.
And to kind of go back and paint a picture, put people in my business. So I was working a 9 to 5 school therapist, actually a few jobs, you know. We had to pay the bills. I had a few at the psych unit, in and out of the hospital. When COVID struck and everything went virtual, I was still able to have my job. So I was fortunate, which was a 9 to 5 still.
Mm-hmm.
However, I found out about travel social work. I was like, oh, that's a thing.
Right.
And it blew my mind
Mm-hmm.
to leave my 9 to 5, secure insurance every day. I know my routine because I
Yep.
was really big on routine, structure, being
Mm.
organized. I had everything in place. Everything was going, everything was good.
Right.
But I had the opportunity to be this travel social worker and be my own boss in a sense and work off contracts.
Mm.
So scary because you're
Yeah.
leaving your 9 to 5, your structure, your family, your friends, and you traveling around the world
Yeah.
making a living. So that's what I'm doing currently now. To
Mm-hmm.
fast forward, I stuck with it for 2 to 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
It was the best decision of my life
Mm.
because you get to meet the taking on this contract now instead of
Mm-hmm.
like a 9 to 5 of a routine. Now I'm on a contract, still kind of working a 9 to 5, but I'm my own boss. If I don't want to come in today, I don't have to. If I don't, I
Mm.
can structure it the way I want. So contract life is completely different than 9 to 5 because contract life they can cut you any day.
Please.
So you and then you don't have insurance.
Yep.
So you have to pay out of pocket for a lot of things. You have to manage
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that when you're on a 9 to 5, you just doing your routine, you just going to work. Everything else is managing behind the scenes.
Right.
So if you now for me, if I fall short, everything goes down.
Right.
Um, but it pushed me to be more mature,
Yep.
more responsible, meet a lot of more people, a lot
Mm-hmm.
more people in higher places because now you're traveling from state to state, you're meeting other nurses, doctors, like surgeons, like you meet all type of people.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, people know people. So sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
So in that aspect, to answer your question, being in this career, it did help me to open more doors,
Right.
to know more things. And for me, I learned by not reading novels. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I read case studies. I like to know
Mm-hmm.
percentage. I
Mm-hmm.
like to know how did you find this out? How I
Yeah.
know you ain't just make this up. So I read a lot of case studies. And
Mm-hmm.
then when having conversations with different people who are smarter than me, they
Yeah.
know more than me. I'm like, ooh, what that word mean? Let me
Yeah.
write it down. Let me go. Let me start using this word.
Yeah.
Or they say some knowledge. I'm like, oh, that's it. Okay. Now let me go research it, like, because I'd
Yeah.
like to make sure. Um, but that just helped to get the gears started to
Yeah.
think outside the box, to place yourself in around, even if you can't get in those rooms where you pay money to go to different galas or events, network. It's cool. Just go around different people who
Right.
are smarter than you. And so you don't necessarily have to be in that career, but just start going to different things where people
Yeah.
are smarter than you. Don't be afraid to be
Mm-hmm.
around people who are smarter than you. Don't be afraid to talk to people who are smarter than you. And sometimes sit back and listen. Like, you ain't gotta say nothing. Sit
Mm-hmm.
back and listen because they're gonna say something that's gonna make you think different, or you gonna like, oh, let me go research that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know this. Um, so yeah, it helped me. It did help.
Yeah.
It did make a difference.
That's dope. And I love that. I love the way you took it because a lot of people would have stopped with, oh, my family's not going to support. And that's a big part too. I think that just taking that entrepreneur side, it's your career side. When you're trying to make a decision just for yourself, I know for me, it took a long time to understand that I don't need to wait for my family support. I don't need to wait for my friends' support. and your support system is going to constantly change. You go from state to state. You don't know who's going to be in your corner until you're there, and you're like, okay, you I'm gonna have to stay away from. But you understand that you need to rely on yourself, and I love that. That's amazing advice and understanding of this process. We get so content in our spaces and just following whatever someone says is supposed to be the goal. And then you're in that goal for 6 years, 10 years, and then you're like, okay, retirement, cool. But you missed out on so much. So it's super important to talk about that, especially when you're just taking the chance. So I guess my question for this topic would be, what do you think would be the best path for someone in our community? Because again, we're talking about Black history. And now I'm going to go on a tangent real quick, follow me. But when we're thinking about our history, we know a lot of the times we went from being our amazing selves, doing our own thing, being very diverse. We all had our specialties. Coming here, being stuck, not really understanding this new world, having our freedom. Now we have to fit in. We have our moment to build our own. Okay, it's gone. Now we're here. Now what? There's so many narratives. There's so many people trying to say, no, we need to go back to, doing our own thing. We need to have our own stuff. Or the other side is like, no, like just focus on you. So for this young generation that's really trying to figure out where to fall, what would be your guiding towards? What would you say is the best way?
I'm really big on individuals finding themselves, find out who you are. What do you like? What don't you like? What's your strengths? What is your weakness? If you know you're not computer savvy, do not go and try to do a tech job. If
Yes.
you know you're better with hands-on, maybe construction may be a good fit for you. Maybe college is not it.
Yes.
And then if you know I'm not an outdoorsy person because sometimes men feel like they have to be so manly.
Yes.
So boys think they have to play football. If you know basketball is not your thing, you prefer computers, you like to play games, you like to read, maybe college is your thing.
Yeah.
Sports is not. So sometimes we as adults put a lot of pressure onto teens, and sometimes we try to live our lives through teens, whether we're parents or not. We just try to live through them like, I didn't get to make it, so you got to do this.
Yeah.
And that child may really suck at it because that's not them. That's not who they are. And then they didn't even have time. They didn't have time. They didn't have the chance to even find themselves, really. They didn't. They're just trying to live up to your expertise. They just want to make you happy, and it's killing them in the inside.
Yeah.
When I was a therapist in the middle school, I found that a lot. It happens so often. And the kids don't even tell parents because, like, how do you tell your mom and dad, this ain't what I want to do?
Yeah.
I'm living under your roof.
Yeah.
I get C's and D's because I'm not book smart. Like, it's not that I don't want to do the work. Sometimes they just don't get it.
That's bad.
Yeah, they just don't get it. And then they got all this pressure, and you know how it goes. When the reality is maybe they need an extra tutor, maybe they need that extra help to at least get to the C and not the D and the F.
Right.
And then if they're more kinesthetic learners versus, because people don't even know the difference between being a kinesthetic learner.
Yeah.
Like, it's just little things like that. I think knowledge is power. Because if you don't know about these things, you don't know to look out for these things, it's going to go right over your head. Right. And then it's going to be generation repeating generation.
Yep.
Generation. Because guess when you're 9 times out of 10, when kids are frustrated, they're not getting it. What does that lead to? Bullying, being a class clown, skipping class. And if they're a girl, God forbid, teen pregnancy, because now you don't want to be bothered with none of that. I'm not good at it. It's a struggle. I'm frustrated. Can't talk to my parents.
Yeah.
You go to the wrong. It's so easy to get caught up.
Right.
But that's why I say knowledge is power, not only for the kids, but for the parents too. That's why I think that they're breaking the barrier starts. Just having those conversations. I tell people all the time, tough conversations are tough, but they're needed.
Yeah.
They are so needed. So people can understand what is really going on and be on the same page, whether it's a child, an adult, or a child to adult having that conversation. It's needed. And think
Right.
about it. These babies, they're not even babies anymore. They're lifting their head up early. They're eating early. They're working technology. Like, how do you know how to find stuff on YouTube? You
Man.
2-year old.
Yes.
Um, so that Google Gaga talk to them is kind of going out the window. So why not talk to your teenager
Mhm.
the way that they need to be spoken to? If 5-year-olds are on YouTube navigating YouTube, do
Mhm.
you think they need Google Gaga?
Right.
They need you to talk to them,
Yeah.
because now that you're talking to them, they can
Mhm.
pronounce their words better at an early age. And actually, a 3-year-old can learn Spanish way faster than an adult.
Girl.
So, installing these things at an early age, communication is a big key as I
Right.
speak about this right now. So I hope I answered your question. I kind of went down a rabbit hole.
No, girl, yes, we all it's fine. I love it. Yes. And it brings it to that last point that we were trying to decide. I think the biggest topic for to end with is gonna be us, right? As Black women. Um, what do you think is our responsibility with
Oh, giving back. That was so easy. Giving back. Don't gatekeep. Don't be holding the knowledge back. Um, because like I said, knowledge is power.
Right.
Give back. Install what was installed in you, what was installed in us. We have to install it into them. I know for me, especially with her movement, like my biggest thing is I want to install into these girls, these boys, what was installed in me, and even more. Because when I'm old and wrinkled, y'all gotta take care of me. I need y'all to know. I need y'all to know customer service. I need you to know how to set boundaries. I need you to know how to be professional.
Right.
And honestly, 10 years from now, yes, that is the next generation. I need you to know how to run a business, because
Yeah.
I may be your customer. Like, I need you to know these things.
Yeah.
Customer service that I see now currently is dead, especially in the young generation. The young generation does not have patience.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not going their way, it's like, all right, on to the
They
next.
quit. Yep.
Like, no customer service, no patience. And I think it's because due to lack of understanding,
Yeah.
due to teaching the knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So give it back.
Girl, I agree with that. I love it. I think I would say, and this gonna be controversial. I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I think we have a responsibility to talk about our growth. I cannot say that enough. Oh my goodness. And this is speaking to whoever it applies to. But I think at some point we can briefly address the past. We can briefly talk about, the things we've overcome. However, we have things right now, such as colorism between us. We have things such as education paths between us that becomes an issue that we need to address now. We have kids that have no idea their beauty, their value, their power, because we're constantly throwing at them, oh, we were slaves. Yes, we were not slaves. We weren't. We, unfortunately, are experiencing discrimination. We have stuff like that right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have Black on Black crime right now. We have, again, colorism right now. So I think the biggest thing that I would say is, like you said, empowering, teaching. Our role is to teach what we were able to go through, what we were able to learn, and not just the things that people generations and generations ago were learning. They learned that to teach to their kids. They learned something to teach their kids, and it just kept going. But what I see right now is a lot of teaching of the past that had nothing to do with us right now. And I say that very loosely. It's not saying to ignore our past. It's not to say ignore our history, but it is to bring encouragement to our current issues. And I know that's kind of going in a circle, but it brings me back to my siblings. A lot of the times when they're talking about our history, they're talking about our growth. It's never the things that they're actually facing in this moment. It's always something that maybe our grandmother dealt with. She did that for a reason. She fought for that for a reason. But
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about our younger generation that is going to have the opportunity to make change for our kids, there's no conversation, there's no understanding of what their responsibility is. And it's crazy to put that pressure on them, like, you have to make some type of change for our community. But dang, at some point, yeah, maybe your goal is to change the stereotypes. That would be amazing. Let's figure out how we can show up in a better way to where they don't think all Black people are ghetto, or they don't think that we only care about drugs and guns, or that all Black men are violent. There are so many things that we can work on now that I wish was talked about more than the things that we're already taken care of. We're not slaves anymore, guys. We're not. We own businesses. We're not. We have so much that we were able to create because we are our ancestors' dreams. Like, that is such a cliche now, but it's true. We are their dreams. We are their wildest dreams, but it's not talked about the way it should be. So that is my challenge. That is what I would say when it comes down to it. I think that's a big thing for us that have platforms, that have voices, or at least an understanding of evolution. We are in a position to where not only can we say we can add that to something we overcame, but we can also point out, hey, we need to work on this now. And I want to teach you how to work on this. So when our kids are grown, they can say, oh, no, my aunt, she took care of that. She was a part of that generation that definitely helped us get forward. Anyway, long tangent, short, long soapbox speech. But I think that's a big thing. What are your thoughts? Any more thoughts? I know I went on.
No, you're fine. Yeah, because I was really big on, still kind of big on teaching the history, so that you would think they know enough about it, but they know nothing about history.
Really? Tell me more.
Okay, so as when I was a teacher, you think they know about history. All they know is Martin Luther King, but all right, do you know Malcolm X? No.
Something, yeah.
Do you know who created the red light? No. Do you know who created a cone? No. Do you know who Madam C.J. Walker is? No. They knew nothing except Martin Luther King. So it's kind of like, it's bad. You don't know your ancestors, like, you don't know anything about back then. All they know is, oh yeah, they couldn't sit on the bus. Oh, I lied. They know Rosa Parks. Most of them knew Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
Most of them knew Rosa Parks. But those are like the main two. They didn't know anything else. Which is kind of sad, because if you don't know where you come from, how can you move forward?
Right.
Because especially if you like me, I'm still that person. But I was that kid that was like, so if this happened, why? I was always the why.
Why?
And it's not in a disrespectful way, but I want to know, if I gotta go over here, why can't I go left? Why I only gotta go right? So same thing for that, especially this generation. They challenge everything. So if you're telling them about where we are right now, what to do right now, in the back of their mind, they don't get it. And they're not doing, and I think that's the reason why, because they're not doing it because they don't even understand the past. They don't know why.
I like that.
So they don't feel that passion. They don't feel that hunger. They just want money. Like, they do things for money because they know they got to survive. Why? Because they know the why.
Oh, girl.
So for me, I'm like, yeah, they need to know that history, because they don't, without knowing that history, they don't know the why. They don't know the passion. They're not hungry for the change. They're not hungry to keep that momentum going. It just becomes a selfish thing for money.
Ooh. Okay. You might have changed me a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna throw devil's advocate at you. I'm gonna throw it at you. Okay. And again, this could be, a lot of the things we know is based on an algorithm. So I'm gonna go off of that. Do you think that, to the public eye, right, to our kids, we know they are social media heavy, that again, we have a responsibility to make sure the information they have is valid? Because every example you used about the stoplight, right, that's a win. That's not, we were just thrown on a boat every year, the same in February. All I see in my algorithm is we were thrown on a boat, we were whipped, we were slaved, all the time. However, we don't talk about Madam C.J. Walker. We don't talk about the lovely red light. We do not talk about peanut butter. We don't talk about all those fun things that we love. We love peanut butter, but those are all wins. So do you think that it goes back to the responsibility of, at least around this time, that we try to change the algorithm and stop putting out just the sad and hardships of it, and maybe allow them to learn, yo, we are dope. We're like, yes, this is the past, but this is amazing. This is where your hunger could also be fueled from.
Girl, yes, I'm so big on that. Before the pandemic, when her movement was in person, we used to do a fashion show, Black History Month, where each teen, a part of her movement, would dress up as their favorite thing. So it low key forced them to do the research to find out what Black people did, what did they create, what did they invent, what were they the first for, and then they had to dress as that person and model that person. It didn't say like a little speech, like 2 sentences. And it
Yeah.
was, they had so much fun. And they didn't, I don't even think they're grown now. They should be like 20 now. But back then, I don't even think they realized I made them learn. Like it was an
Yeah.
educational thing. Because they were having so much fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
The parents came out to support,
Yeah.
to watch the event. We had it at a high school, so the school was like amazed. And
Yeah.
it wasn't only Blacks participating, we had Hispanics, Caucasians, because they're like, can I? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I need you to learn too. Like,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So
Yeah.
yes, ma'am, I do. I
I
do.
love it. Okay, I had to loop back around because I'm like, it don't sound like I'm saying we don't need to know about our history. That's not it, guys. I promise that's not what I meant. I'm just like, dang, I'm tired of being sad. I want to know the good stuff.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. Yes. I remember this one girl, 'cause I didn't even know. She dressed up as the first black runner in the Olympics. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Way back then we had a black, I didn't even know. So
Yeah.
they taught me some stuff
Yeah.
too. So yes, ma'am. You're
I
right. Like
love.
the fun stuff, not just the,
Yeah.
oh, they got beat, they
Yeah.
was lynched.
I'm tired of seeing the sad movies, and that's real, guys. That's so real, and I think this is more for those parents. I get it. Like, growing up, I was in that household that it was always a reminder of what the white side did to us. I'm sorry, my husband's white now, so my entire perspective has changed. I went to an HBCU, so coming out of HBCU and marrying my husband, it was a little transition. We had a rough patch, but it was so important. It was so important because I'm like, okay, now that I'm a mom, my son is triracial. He has so many things that he's going to be experiencing. And I know for me, that was huge. I don't want him to be scrolling on YouTube when he's older and he's like, oh, look at mommy's video. And I'm bashing, half his life. That's not good. That's not good at all. But it's important. It's really important because we have so many kids, especially now, that interracial life is becoming bigger. Um, and I think, just speaking more so as a mom that is a mother to an interracial child, biracial child, triracial. Anyway, I want to make sure that he understands all of it. And I wonder how big of a conversation that is outside of what is put in our faces. Media is huge for us. And I think it's unfortunate, but it's just a fact. We have so much control on what our kids know and don't know, the values they hold and the ones they don't, the security they have in themselves. All these things are based on us. And we like to say, oh no, it was changed because of social media and they go to school. It's not. It's our responsibility. Those are our babies, our community's babies. So that's what I was thinking about it too. I agree. I love it.
Yes, I agree because I had this one, she was actually in elementary, a client, and she was triracial. So she was
Mm-hmm.
black, white, and Irish.
Ooh.
So she had what we call an adjustment disorder. She
Okay.
did not know where she fit in, what category.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm not black enough, I'm not white enough, I'm not Irish enough.
Yeah.
She just was like, I don't fit in anywhere. And she was in the 5th grade.
Mm.
And sad to say, it led her to have suicidal thoughts.
Oh.
Because she felt so out of place, especially she said in school. I remember that was like the
Yeah.
biggest thing in school. Kids can be so mean, so cruel.
Yes.
Because her hair was curly, but it was like red because she's
Oh,
Irish.
hello.
So it's like the
Yeah.
kids would say things like, "You got black people hair, but you're not black."
Yeah.
Or like, why is it red? Like, and it just made her feel so insecure. And she was a beautiful, just think all
Yeah.
those races in one person.
She's
She
really
was
cute.
beautiful. She was
Yes.
beautiful. But in her mind, she was ugly. No
Yeah.
one liked her. She didn't know where to fit in. So having those conversations helped. Well, when we went through therapy together, it helped her so much.
Yeah.
She felt like she couldn't talk to her mom or dad.
Yeah.
Um, because mom didn't understand 100% because she's not black, and dad
Yeah.
didn't understand 100% because he's not Irish and Caucasian. So
Yeah.
she
Mm.
just felt like she didn't. They're the parents, so they had a little biasness, a
Yeah.
little bias.
Mm.
So and it was weird because I'm like I'm black,
Yeah.
but you're able to listen. Like it was crazy.
Mm.
It was different, not normal, pretty abnormal, but it was amazing because all she needed was a listening ear.
Mm. I like.
Someone who wasn't biased or judging her because she felt judged her whole life. She felt out of place her whole life.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you brought that up, that just came to my mind. I wonder how around this time, Black History Month, how those who are biracial or triracial feel.
Yeah. Mm. I like that. We might have to add that as a talking point, guys. So definitely check in on the page because that may be a conversation that we started. I actually really like that as a conversation. Oh my gosh. No, I enjoyed this conversation. Obviously, I have to end it soon because I know you have things to do. But I appreciate you and I am super excited. You already know we're gonna do more. Guys, her movement. I just love it. I love it here. She's absolutely amazing. But
Jason
no,
is too.
thank you, girl. Thank you. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you. All right, guys. So this was our first episode for the Black is segment. So definitely make sure you come back next Thursday. We're gonna do Black is Love with my husband. We're gonna talk about interracial marriage. We're gonna talk about this baby and just some of the challenges, y'all, because it's been a ride. But I'm super excited to do this segment. My goal is to make sure it's every year. I know I say that with a lot of things. I do, but I will be better. So thank you, LaBrena, again for the Black is Diverse topics. This was amazing. I definitely appreciate you. Um, yes, and we'll be back next week. Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
for having me. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, guys.